What's up, y'all? It's your boy Davizzle, aka David, and we are doing the Sober Gang podcast today. Okay, it is August 1st, and Angus Cloud has just passed away. This is a ugly turn of events for Oakland. He was a kid from Oakland, extremely good kid, man. Shortly before I get into this, I want to say rest in peace to Angus Cloud, and that my condolences be with the family, my respect to their privacy and everything. And the purpose of this podcast really is to create an atmosphere of grieving, or even just to put something on the table, like respect this dude. Don't just say whatever about this dude. So I'm trying to make this podcast to create something where it's like something respectful was said, and I haven't really seen that anybody on the podcast has talked about him yet, so I'm gonna do it first. And let me just start off by saying that I am not a super close personal friend of Angus Cloud. However, I did have the honor and the privilege of meeting him, talking to him. He also supported my business at Lake Merritt back when I was throwing parties at the lake, and I was kind of the reason why a lot of stuff got started at Lake Merritt. And I had a cannabis booth where I did CBD honey, and he came through and we talked, and he supported my business, just put it that way. And it was love, man. He asked me how long I've been doing what I do, and then I started talking to him about what he does. Then he started talking to me about Euphoria. I'm like, oh, okay, Euphoria, that's what's up, man. Tell me more, And then he was telling me that the show is funded. They're in like the second season, or that they already shot the first season. He was basically telling me that they were pretty far along, that he has a leading role in it, and that it's doing really well. And that he would follow me on Instagram. He wanted me to follow him back. I actually didn't even follow him back for a couple months, because I found out who he was just through being viral. I'm like, dang, look at this viral photo. Who is this? I'm like, oh, this is bro. And then he followed me. Before that, he was already following me. He had millions of views. He had like 1.2 million or something. I'm like, who the hell is this dude with 1.2 million followers on my follower list? And I checked, and you could check today on Sober Gang TV. Angus Cloud is one of my followers, and so that's a super big privilege, because he only got like 606 people that he's following. So but even bigger of a privilege that he followed me, right, is that I went from having a cannabis booth to doing Sober Gang, right? And he was just a viewer, watching my stories. I would see him in the stories, I would check him out. And I know for a fact that he knew about my conversion from being a weed seller, cannabis booth at Lake Merritt, to dude pushing Sober Gang. I'm not saying that he saw all my stuff, but I did see him viewing my stories, and I did see him around the lake. And, my sister, my baby mama's sister cousin, no, I'm just playing, but I know people who went to school with him. He went to Oakland School of the Arts, so he was always a gifted kid. And I'm trying to keep this from being long-winded. The only thing I really wanted to say before this thing was over is that he was a good kid. He was from Oakland. I saw K-Dub, the founder of Town Park, had posted him as a little kid at the West Oakland Skate Park. And just to go to show you how much history he has in the city, like he'd been around since forever, basically. Anyway, there's speculation on how he died, and a lot of people are using deductive reasoning, but basically, he didn't get murdered, and he didn't die of natural causes. So using deductive reasoning, you can blame a drug. And TMZ had the tea early and spilt the beans, like, oh, allegedly the mother had said, I think it's an overdose or something. Let me talk about that being a problem, because who the hell gave them that audio? And did they get paid to have that audio? You know, when you see somebody 25-year-old die, there's already the speculation if it was drugs or alcohol. Let's just be real. But to confirm it and to release the mother's audio, that was a little bit of a gnarly betrayal. But you know, TMZ, they're not the news, they're a tabloid. So they're paying extra for the spill the beans policy, and it's okay, you know. Overall, I just want to say that I'm gonna watch and binge watch all of Euphoria and react to it on the podcast as well. And you know, as somebody who is pushing Sober Gang and highly affected by the impact of drugs in my life and in my community, I also wanted to say, like, very often do funerals result in people saying, oh, let's spark a blunt for the homie, or let's buy some drink and then pour half of it out for the homie. This situation, the fact that the speculation of whether or not it was drug related is already out, it's like, well, who's gonna get sober for the homie? You know, and that's what I really, really want to push onto the 25-year-old and under generation. Like, I'm 7 years older than a 25-year-old. A 25-year-old is a young individual to me nowadays. So I wonder, like, if you're 25 and a friend dies and it looks like it was drug related, are you willing to say, hey, whether it was suicide or whether it was just an accidental overdose, am I willing to stay away from substances? That's my question to the 25 and under. You know, are you guys willing to stay away from substances just to honor your homies that pass away partaking? You know, like, that's what Sober Gang is. Sober Gang is a dedication to Nathan Fisher. And Nathan Fisher died because he couldn't get sober. But I kept Sober Gang going because I had that idea while he was alive. But when he died, I said, I'm really going to do the Sober Gang podcast now. So Angus Cloud on Euphoria is a legend. Just give him a watch. I'm gonna be honest, I barely seen Euphoria, and I don't want to sound hella fake, but I did want to give the people that knew him in my life just a link to click. But overall, man, like, my homeboy Mundo Films went on road trips with him. Like, I know people that are upside down over this right now. A lot of people are hurt, but I just want to say, for the black business community at Lake Merritt, to the artists in Oakland, to the hip hoppers and the punk rockers and the ravers, this dude was a part of our community. He was a cool kid from around the way, and nothing will ever take that away from him. And this is a perfect, really full-length episode for me as someone in recovery to say, well, this is a perfect opportunity for me to break my anonymity and let my followers know, like, I'm in recovery. I have to go the extra mile to stay sober. It hasn't been easy. I've been kicked out of rehab for relapsing too many times. My best friend from rehab is dead because of drugs and alcohol. And now, if you can identify with anything that I've just said, perhaps you should consider if you can quit doing drugs and alcohol on your own without recovery, then do it before it's too late. Because I do believe that there comes a point where you need recovery to stay sober. And nobody wants to be that far gone to where they need recovery to stay sober, but I'm there in my life, you know. I need mental health services to stay sober. I need, you know what I mean? The therapy of group therapy. I need to meet up with people I need a fellowship. I need to take the steps required to have the serenity to stay sober. And this is really my conclusion, is that, hey, you know, I know the cool kids are thinking, well, cool kids don't do recovery, but there's plenty of cool people that do recovery. And if you look on Angus Cloud's Instagram right now, you'll see that he was following Sober Gang TV. So everybody knows about this recovery message to some level, you know. It's just the truth. And the same way drug addiction affects us all, recovery also affects us all. So I encourage you guys to turn to the positive side of the day. You know, there's a saying, get out of bed on the wrong side of the bed. Well, I think it's time for us to start getting out of bed on the right side of the bed. And man, I'm gonna keep an eye out for his family. I'm gonna keep an eye out for like a memorial that I can put on Sober Gang TV, so that it's not just these vulture like platforms that are giving him some time, but I just wanted to give him some time on my thing and say that he was a star. Even if some people never heard of him, he was a superstar. He was a humble kid. He was a good kid from Oakland. Personally, I don't believe he killed himself, but that's just speculation. But I think that right now we live in a day and age of drug use where any type of partaking is a very deadly gamble, because look what happened to Lil Peep. He got the Xans he was supposed to get, and it ended up being fentanyl. He didn't order fentanyl. So it's just that's the case of drug dealing right now. If you're a drug dealer, you're getting fentanyl and pretending like it's Molly, pretending like it's a regular pill, you know, pretending like it's coke, pretending like it's meth, but really there's fentanyl. That's the state of drug dealing today. It's like, if you really want to sell your bundle, you're gonna have to just lie and say that it's whatever and just give them that fentanyl. It's not fair, it's not good. And that's really all I have to say, y'all. Be careful out there. Don't take drugs. Relapse is not an option. Get sober, stay sober. Take the steps you need to take. Pray, meditate, fight back against the addiction. You will be okay. You don't need your friends who get high. You can just stick with the people in your life that are sober. Go ahead and join the gang, Sober Gang TV. Follow Angus Cloud. And that's all I got to say for today, man. God bless you. I'm out.